Okay, so now I've got this nice volume. I've got solid walls all the way around, and life is good. So, so how can I turn this into a STEM exercise? Well, let's say we're going to make a museum out of this thing. So I could go out and go to that 3D warehouse and maybe get a display case of a certain volume. Let's say that you've got something that has to go into a display case. You know, your stuffed Siberian tiger that somebody donated has to go into a case that has a particular dimension to it. And maybe they just give you a volume dimension and minimum width and depth kind of thing. I don't know. But I'm going to go and click on the top view here. So the reason why I had you do this view menu over on the left hand side was so that you could reorient yourself when you get lost. So it's always nice to be able to just click on this little isometric view of the house, and boom, there you go. You're back to that view. Sometimes you get yourself lost in the model, and the top view is the one that I want. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to say that my client or my donor gave me this Siberian tiger, and it's got to go into a case that's at least 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. And then it's got to have a volume of, I don't know, 50 cubic feet minimum. Okay, so I'm going to create a volume, and then we'll do some measuring and see if we can't figure out if it's 50 cubic feet of volume. So I grab my drawing tool, so I've got my pencil. I'm going to draw a straight line down here, and they said 6 feet, so 6, and then go in the other direction here on my green axis. Now I don't remember the number that I said. I'm gonna pretend I said 2. So 6 by 2. Now it'll give me an inference line here if I zoom in a little bit, and I didn't want to do it. Oh, come on, please. There it is. Okay, so I had to hover over that intersection point a couple of times to get it to realize that that's what I wanted to align with, and then I could move my drawing point away, and it eventually gave me what I wanted. So just to keep this thing its own, let me orbit a little bit here. Just to keep my shape here its own thing, I'm going to pretend that I've got a base that I'm going to make on this display case. And so I'm going to bring a copy of that shape up. So I selected my push-pull tool. I'm going to click on Control. You may not have to click on Control. If you didn't click Control twice before, then you're good to go. If it's got a little plus beside it, you're fine. So I click on Control to get the plus. I'm going to make my base 12 inches thick. So I enter 12 and click Enter. And so that's my base. And so now I've got an area that is 12 square feet, and they wanted a minimum of 50 cubic feet of space in this display case. And so I'm going to go in and do another copy. So you could have students do math if you wanted precisely 50 cubic feet, then 6 by 2 and figure out what the third variable is to get to that 50 cubic feet. I'm going to, since I'm doing math publicly, which I said is always a mistake, I'm going to do 6 by 2 is 12, and so 4 12s are 48, so I'm going to do 4.5. That'll get me 54 cubic feet. So I'm going to click on my push-pull tool again. It's still got the plus beside it. I click, I start pulling that up, and I'm going to do 4.5 feet. And there's a lot of ways that I could enter that. You know, you can convert it to inches, or do feet in inches with the marks or whatever. So there you go. So now I've got this volume. You could have students maybe exchange projects and check the volume. So I'm going to go and get my measure tool, measure from there to there. It's 4 feet 6 inches. Front to back, it's 2 feet. End to end, 6 feet. There you go. I've got 54 cubic feet. Now, to get my tiger in there, I probably want this thing to be glass instead of solid whatever this is. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with materials. So I'm going to click on my paint bucket. And that gets me a flyout menu here that I can actually keep as long as I want to. And I need to look for glass. Let's see here, translucent, that's what they call it. So in my folders of materials here, I click on translucent, and I'm going to use translucent glass blue. So I click on that one, and now you just click on the various surfaces. I need to orbit back to this other side. It's nice to be able to work upside down, and click on those two. And now I've got translucent case, and so if we had a model of our Siberian tiger, we could stick it in there, and now that I've got this thing built, I realize that it must be a very skinny tiger walking in a very straight line. So let's say that I wanted to make this base a little bit bigger and add some materiality to the base. So what I'm going to do is that same thing that I did with my walls. I'm going to use the push-pull tool and pull these out 6 inches. And if I just use that same command over and just double click with it, it'll repeat the same dimensions that it did before. And so now my base is 6 inches bigger than my glass case. So it might be the way to approach it. I'm going to get rid of some extra lines that are in here. And there we go. Maybe this top wants to have some thickness to it, so I do another push-pull, make a copy, pull that up 4 inches, and pull this out 2 inches, repeat. Ooh, flying around. Got some funkiness going on here. So I need to do some erasing. That's what happens when you have extra lines. Things get complicated sometimes. So push pull, bring that out. Now do some erasing. One of the things that isn't really intuitive until you think about it, I guess, which makes it counterintuitive, is that those lines are still going to exist on the bottom of this shape. Right there. So if you need to worry about them, they're there. That will make a difference on architectural work if you ever would attempt to do that in SketchUp. So I am going to stop this video at this point, and we'll come back and we'll do video number 3, which will put a roof on this structure.